Hey everyone, Daniel Hoffman-Zinnel here with Keenan Crow, our Director of Policy and Advocacy, and we are going to be providing you our final legislative update because session ended on Saturday, and we had a lot of unfortunate things that happened the last 2 days of session, and specifically 3 things that we wanted to really provide some information to you about today, and then also talk about how you can still be involved and encourage Governor Reynolds to line in and veto some specific things. So let's start with the judicial nominations.
Yes, so this was brought back from the dead. We thought it had completely gone away. And then a couple days into the last week, we had heard that some backroom deals were being made, that they were going to start paring it down a little bit. And that said, it has been pared down quite a bit from its initial proposal. There is no more of the legislative leaders selecting individuals to be on the nominating commission. It basically gives Governor Reynolds an additional vote on the nominating commission, and then changes the structure of how the chief justices are selected and a number of other technical provisions. It's not as bad as it could have been, but it's still bad. It still ejects additional politics into the court system. We have a fantastic system. It wasn't broken. It didn't need fixing, and so we're disappointed that they went forward with that more limited proposal, but they still went forward.
They also went after defunding Planned Parenthood's sex education. So talk specifically about what that
Absolutely.
entails.
So there are a couple of grants, CAP and PrEP in particular, that are provided by the federal government and administrated by the state government. And so they have a little bit of control about who gets awarded those grants. So effectively what this piece of legislation did, and this was stuck in the HHS budget amendment that came out on Friday, and then in just a couple hours after it was released, was immediately voted on. What it did was it disqualified Planned Parenthood from applying for those grants and receiving a competitive bidding process or a seat on the competitive bidding process. That's bad policy. The person that can deliver the service, or the organization that can deliver the service the best, should always be awarded that grant. We shouldn't be arbitrarily excluding a group. And unfortunately, that's exactly what this legislation did. It, Planned Parenthood doesn't control the curricula on this. The curricula is going to be the exact same thing, no matter who delivers it, no matter what organization
medically
is.
accurate, research-based, all of those things. LGBTQ inclusive.
Yes, absolutely. And so I don't think it's actually going to have any impact on what the content of that curricula is. What it is going to impact, though, are how many people are available to deliver that, and if the infrastructure is in place. Folks may not know, but this has been attempted in the past. And when they did that, it wasn't a full bar. They just tried to exclude them from that. And after that exclusion, they realized they didn't have enough providers and ended up having to bring Planned Parenthood back in. And so now that there's not the option of bringing Planned Parenthood back into the fold, we are seriously concerned that some of the districts that have those CAP and PrEP grants are not going to have those services delivered.
And this was also one that it was introduced in a committee, died, and the committee was brought back in the 11th hour.
Yeah, we had seen this bill before, right? We had talked to you about this bill before, and we thought it was gone. It had not cleared the funnel deadlines as it was supposed to, and so according to the rules, it should have been gone, but they tucked it in a budget bill at kind of the 11th hour.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the final thing. So really, this is an attack against transgender Iowans. So let's talk about what's the impact of this.
Yeah, so once again, thrown in the same budget bill as the Planned Parenthood defund at the same kind of timing, except for we hadn't even seen this language before. It was not through a subcommittee. It did not go through a full committee. We were not afforded the opportunity for public comment on this, and so they bypassed the entire process. Once again, not good policymaking being had, even if you ultimately agree with the decision, which I don't think you should. There's no good evidence to do that. But if you were to, I think even a lot of folks on the opposite side would agree that this is not the way to go about making good policy, because we don't even get to hear from the folks that are impacted by that policy decision. So what am I even talking about? This was an attempt to reverse the March 8th Iowa Supreme Court ruling that required Medicaid to cover trans Iowans, and specifically transition-related surgical procedures. Now, these procedures are, in fact, medically necessary. Every single medical organization of repute on the planet agrees that not only is this a medically necessary procedure for some folks, but that public insurance should, in fact, be covering it as well. It's not that we're extrapolating. This is what those major medical organizations are saying is needed. It needs to be covered by public insurance. The wording is really offensive. It uses lots of outdated terms. Additionally, it's extremely vague. And so we're wondering both how the courts are going to interpret it and how the administrative agency is going to interpret it. And we're honestly not sure because of that wording. There are a lot of problems with this piece of legislation. It's not based on the best science we have. It's only based on biases. And that's, once again, not a way to make good policy. So kind of at every turn with this particular policy, we've made the worst possible policy decisions that we could. And that's why we're in the place that we're in now.
And really, it's going to impact people's lives, unfortunately. So
we know that there are folks who have these procedures scheduled as early as this week. And that has really been thrown into jeopardy, especially because of the clause that says this is going to take an act, or it's going to be enacted immediately upon the governor's signature. And we're not sure if the governor is going to sign that piece of legislation. We encourage you to go to One Iowa Action and fill out the form and tell the governor to line item veto this piece of legislation, because of not only is it medically inaccurate, not only is it being provided by bias, but the process was not followed. And so if legislators believe that this is the right thing to do, let them bring it up next year and follow the proper process.
It's discrimination.
It is. It's discrimination, plain and simple, and it was done in the worst possible way.
So there is still time to reach out to Governor Reynolds. As Keenan said, go to our website, follow the link, fill out the form, encourage her to line item veto, continue to put pressure on her. We'll keep you updated as soon as we hear information on if and when she is or isn't going to sign. But if she does, there will likely be some sort of lawsuit to continue this fight against discrimination against transgender Iowans. So thank you so much for tuning in today. We're sorry we don't have better news. We have a lot of work to do between now and the next legislative session, and we look forward to engaging you in that process.